Hi there. All right, let's talk about Infogram. This is a tech tool that can be very helpful in supporting students when they're learning a new content area and also helping teachers to support the students as well. So, as I said, it's Infogram. You can find it on infogram.com and you can see at the top of my screen. Um, this is a tool that provides templates for, well, really a wide variety of things. You can see right up here, infographics, reports, slides, dashboards, social media, and posters. It's I have found it to be fairly helpful. It's can be a little confusing to click around in. Um, it's not the simplest to use once you've chosen a template, but the templates are very nice. They're very easy to scroll through and pick one that catches your eye. Here we go. This is the screen I wanted. So here you can see they have infographics reports like I read, and you can see all the different kinds that you can choose from. So they've really got a very wide variety, and they're all fairly easy to read. They're easy on the eyes, and again, you can change the colors, change the font, move some things around um, to fit whatever it is that you're working with. It is free to use, though there are things hidden behind a paywall. So at that screen we were just looking at with all of these choices, you can see these little green buttons that say upgrade. They disappear when I've scrolled over them, but they say upgrade on them, and it just means that I can't use those templates. Or there's also features over here that I can't use until I upgrade to use it. Now, on one hand, I don't really care about branding my projects because whatever. But, there are, again, like some of those templates are really nice and maybe I really like them. So you're missing out on some things, but you're not missing out on a ton of the features that are available to you. They don't hide the features behind the paywall. It's more of just the templates and the branding. So if you're more of a professional looking for, to make sure you can put a watermark on something, you might need to pay a little bit more. So for me, I think that this supports instruction in a number of different ways. For one, it provides more visuals instead of just a lecture. Not that you would be doing a lecture with an elementary school class, but it provides a little bit more visuals, a different way of presenting the visuals. You can mix in graphs with your infographic, with your timeline. You can have a variety of graphs. You can have different little I don't know what to call these, but just like little like cartoons, animations inside of there. And this is all connected to like your Google account, so you can bring in some like Google Slides, or you can connect this into, well, if you have a Google Slide, you can just bring this picture straight into your presentation. So it's handy in that sense of being easy to access for a teacher. And or you can also print off this, if I wanted to hand out this to a student who just wanted to hold the information in front of them, you can print out, download it as a PDF and print it off. Um, it also can help support some students who might be colorblind. You can change the colors to be easier to read for them. You can obviously change the font. Um, so there's a variety of ways that it can support students. This is much more of an extra website, right? Where it's just providing more options, which is always good. There are a number of limitations. For one, like I said, there are some templates hidden behind paywalls. There's some extra features hidden behind paywalls. But the number one thing that kind of annoyed me is that I can't click and drag things. Like this text box is here. I can't like move it around unless I get a little creative with the diagonal sizes and try to like shift it over slowly. I can't just click and drag to a spot. So that was weird and it's a little annoying. Another limitation is that there's a lot of features. It's a little daunting to just jump into. So in that sense, it's almost a limitation of how much work are you willing to put in. If I just want to use this template and I'm just going to plug in the information for, all right, it's World War II, so 1939 that year, 1940 that year, and just like plug in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sure, fine. Like that's a good timeline. It works. You can print it off and hand it to a student. But you're also in that sense limiting what you can do with this. This has all of these features on the side. You've got all these different things that you can add into it. They even have integration with YouTube and Google Drive and things like that. So it can do a lot with the free version. It can do a lot. And so it's just going to take a while to learn all of those things. There's not a really easy way to just jump in. Uh, so again, if you're someone who's not very good with technology or not very good at kind of learning on the fly, this is going to take you more than a minute to get the hang of. Oh, I briefly covered like something extra that I did really like is this integration. I can, you know, search a YouTube video. Gosh, I don't know. I'll just search World War II. Um, all right, so I have all these different videos. So if I wanted to add in a video, I could click it and it would literally, like, look at that. That was super easy to just click and add. Um, oh, but I can click and drag this, but I can't click and drag um, the text, which is annoying. 1 second, I gotta plug in my computer. All right, there we go. So that's something extra that I really liked, is being able to quickly add in something. So as you can see though, like this sort of infographic, um, it's almost it's easy to put into a presentation or something like that, or present to students. Maybe you link it on like their Seesaw or something like that so they can click on it and have the information in front of them. But again, you can also print it off for a student that would rather read it or rather hold it and refer back to it later on. Let's see. So I've already kind of briefly talked about one of the scenarios that I would use it in. But if I were to teach a lesson on, certainly the timeline works best for in my mind with like a history or a science subject. Maybe you're talking about the timeline of the discovery of the planets, of the way that astronomers throughout the ages have slowly discovered planets. So I could come up here and type in discovery of the planets. I would say, oh gosh, what was it? Galileo in what, 1300s? Yeah, we'll just say 1300s, and you guys can correct me later on. And so I could go through and type in and basically run through the timeline. What is the content that I'm covering? And making sure that in the infographic, it's going to be a slightly simplified version of the content that I'm covering, because I'm not going to put my whole spiel on the infographic. I just want to make sure I'm doing the heavy hitters, the content that I want the students to know, but really like just making sure that the students have a good, strong base of what the lesson was about. And the infographic can provide interesting facts. It can provide, again, the order that things happened in. And I can then post that to, again, let's say there's Seesaw, Schoology, Google Classrooms. I can then post this infographic of the discovery of the planets that I've created. So I'm using the resources that I trust, and then I'm simplifying them and summarizing them into the infographic, and then posting that or printing it out to hand out in class. So there's a number of different ways that you can utilize this website. I think that it applies to all content areas, but like I said, infographics, the first thing I think of when I hear the word infographics is like science and history, because it's, trying to take a big picture concept and tie it into, again, like the small focused, what are the facts that I want them to know? What are the concepts that I want them to know? The themes, all right there in a handy dandy infographic. So again, this tool has a wide range of uses, but it's really up to you, up to the user on how you utilize it. There are a ton of features over here. It almost kind of feels like Like if you've ever used Adobe Photoshop where you're just kind of not sure, like, oh, what's this button do? What's that button do? I highly recommend trying it out. Just clicking around. What does this feature mean? What will this do? That's how I learn. I'm sure that there are other tutorials online. They also have a handy dandy little like, question and answer. Oh, look, there's somebody that's willing to help me right now if I had some questions. So they have a Q&A, they have a little, frequently asked questions. They have a ton of features. And again, that's kind of what adds to its intimidation factor and also some of its limitations because it's really just about your own limitations, your own abilities with technology. Um, let's see. So I think that, yeah, so its strengths are it covers a lot of bases. It can really support students in a wide variety of content areas with all these different templates, posters. So you can use it in any aspect of your classroom, which is great. But its weaknesses, it's kind of difficult to pick up. It's difficult to get the hang of. Um, and it's not like visually easy to see what I'm clicking on and like what this will do. You might click on a feature and nothing happens, but it might have a different effect in a different template. So it's, again, difficult to pick up. I would use this in my classroom, absolutely, especially if you're thinking of doing like, oh, I want this sort of poster, but I just can't find it in any of the, I don't know, teacher supply stores or whatever. So instead of like, I'm not the best drawer and I'm really bad at writing neat, clean block letters. So this would be a great way to put a nice customizable poster on my wall in the classroom. Or again, doing a nice infographic on the discovery of planets or something like that, like a new content area that we're going to cover. I'm going to print out a bunch of infographics and put them on my wall, put them on the whiteboard. This is a handy tool for that. So I would absolutely use this in the classroom, but I need to continue to familiarize myself with it. I need to keep practicing with it. So highly recommend checking it out, and I hope that this video did a good job of explaining some of its uses.